everybody, back again with another video. Hope you're doing well. Hope your life's going well. Hope this week has gone well for you, and hope that today has gone well for you. Today is Thursday, May the 15th, 2025. It is about 9:22 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I hope that you all have a wonderful evening, a wonderful Thursday, and I hope it's been a productive week for you and a non-stressful week for you. As for me, myself, I'm doing pretty good today. Today was a pretty long day at work, though. Worked over 11 hours a day, but you know what? It's all good. And in my job, the time flies by. See, that's the thing I like about trucking. Trucking, the days fly by. I don't know if I could ever see myself working in an office, because it just seems like the time would pass by so slow if I worked in an office. But that's just me. I'm sure it's different for other people, and it depends on the type of job that is done in the office. But I just think in general, when you're out and about, you're going to different places and stuff like that, it just makes time go by faster versus just sitting idle in front of a computer for most of the day. But everyone's different, so. But anyway, yeah, pretty good day for me. Average day, which is a good day, of course, because guess what? Nothing bad happened. But anyway, let's get into what I want to review in this video. Let's talk about Ollipop. Now, this is supposed to be like a healthy soda, right? A healthier alternative to the junk sodas, right? All your mainstream junk sodas that aren't good for you and full of sugar. This is supposed to be the replacement, right? For that, a way healthier version of those of those sodas, right? Your mainstream sodas, your Coca-Colas, your Pepsis, your Sprites and Mountain Dew and all that stuff that's full of sugar. And guess what? Even if you buy the sugar-free kind, it still has aspartame in it, right? This is supposed to be a better version of that. So we have Olipop. These are very popular. I first saw these a couple of years ago at the stores, but now you kind of see them everywhere now. I've seen these at Walmart. I've seen these at Target. I've seen these at Kroger, H-E-B. I've even seen these at, was it Walgreens or CVS? But yeah, they're probably at both of them, but I know for a fact I've seen these at either Walgreens or CVS as well. But I've tried these before. I don't drink them very often, but just kind of reading a can, it was okay, it kind of inspired me to kind of look into this, and it definitely made me want to try it. So as you can see on the front, it says a new kind of soda. A new kind of soda. Okay. This is cherry cola variety. As you can see, the picture of the cherries on the front. It says it supports digestive health. It says it contains prebiotics, botanicals, and plant fiber. 5 grams of sugar per can, and just 1 gram of added sugar. And I don't think this company has been around very long. And they really tapped into a market that desperately needed a healthier alternative anyway, because soda is very popular, right? That's that's a given. Soda is always going to be very popular because it tastes good. It's sugary, right? But they've stepped in and created a soda that is a lot more healthier than, say, Coca-Cola or Pepsi or Dr. Pepper. The ones that's full of added sugars and stuff. And so it's no surprise that this brand has been pretty successful up to this point here in time. And so I'm going to look at the nutrition facts here. Here's nutrition facts. Very, very clean design. They definitely, strived for a basic design, nothing too fancy. Let's see what else the can says. It says it's plant powered, microbiome approved. Now, I was actually reading like reviews of these. Some people like them. Some people don't necessarily like the taste. There were some people that said it made their stomach hurt. The times that I've drank these, they didn't really make my stomach hurt like that. And so, again, I don't drink them too much, but the times I've had them, they didn't really bother my stomach like that. But, some people suggest that it's the fiber, even though it's not a whole lot of fiber. Well, I mean, it's 6 grams of fiber, which is a decent amount. That's not a whole lot, though, But, it's, they're popular for a reason. They're in all the major stores for a reason. So, and I'm not saying that something like this is like the ultimate most healthiest thing ever to drink, but it's definitely better than like Coca-Cola. And it's funny too, ironically, Coca-Cola makes a cherry variety as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Coca-Cola, yeah, they make a cherry variety. And they make a vanilla variety as well. Coca-Cola, they have a lot of flavors. Now I'm thinking about it, Coca-Cola makes a lot of different flavors of their sodas. I almost forgot, because I don't really drink Coca-Cola like that. But I almost forgot, yeah, they got a lot of different like varieties. So, yeah, let's get into the nutrition facts. So, it says it contains 13% of juice. So for one serving per container, there is, so basically for the whole can, it's 40 calories, 0 grams of fat, 35 milligrams of sodium, 13 grams of carbohydrates, 6 grams of fiber, 5 grams of sugar, including 1 gram of added sugar, and 0 grams of protein. It says contains 50 milligrams of natural caffeine from green tea. So it does have caffeine in it. Not a lot, but there's caffeine in it from green tea. So, it's from a natural source at least. So ingredients. Carbonated water is first ingredient. Ollipop, which is cassava root fiber. Acai fiber. Guar fiber, nopal cactus, marshmallow root, calendula flower, kudzu roots, tart cherry juice concentrate, apple juice concentrate, cassava root syrup, natural flavors. Natural flavors, yes, natural flavors is in this. So, kind of vague. Lime juice concentrate, stevia leaf, Himalayan pink salt, green tea, caffeine, and yeah. It is manufactured for all it. Well, it says that it's manufactured for Olipop Incorporated, Oakland, California. So I'm guessing they're based in California. Let's see. So it has a non-GMO label on there as well. Non-GMO verified label there. I don't know if you can see it. This thing doesn't autofocus. I need a professional camera, y'all. Yeah. Certified gluten-free. Has a vegan label on it and a paleo label on it. Please recycle. Store in a cool, dry place. And yeah, let's get into it. Hopefully this doesn't spill everywhere. I'm just opening it up right now. And I'm gonna just drink it right out the can. I know there's some people that say, it's best to stick a straw in it, but I don't have a straw right now, so I'm drinking it right out the can. But I'll tell you how it tastes. It's pretty good. It is pretty good. I can definitely taste the cherry flavor. And, obviously it's a carbonated beverage, right? And again, carbonated beverages, they're not the best thing to drink in general, but again, something like this, is better than, Coca-Cola or really any of these mainstream sodas that you see on the television and the billboards and the different advertisements. If it's a heavily advertised soda, you definitely want to do some research on it because it's probably not healthy. I mean, I drive every day and, I see Coca-Cola on the big old billboards all the time, advertising to the cars and trucks passing by on the freeway. And but when you make billions of dollars, you can afford to advertise on the big billboards. It's not cheap to advertise on the big billboards, especially in the big city. You gotta have some big money to do that. Like those lawyers, let me tell you, they got big money. That's how they're able to advertise on the big billboards. All these lawyers and stuff. Y'all see them? These lawyers that advertise on the billboards. I always wondered if they were the best option to go with if you were ever to need a lawyer, though. Like, would you go with one of those lawyers that are on the big billboards? Or would you just find one that is, local? Maybe they don't have a huge advertising budget, but they get you results. And they have, a lot of good reviews on, like, Google or whatever. Something else I want to talk about, too. Did y'all hear about Draymond Green getting fined $50,000 for basically questioning the integrity of the officials that were, officiating the Warriors and Timberwolves game? He kind of suggested that the refs might have put money on I forgot. Let me actually look that up here because I want to see something real quick. Draymond Green. Because I kind of want to talk about this. I was actually going to make a whole video on this, but I'll talk about it briefly right now. So I'm on ESPN. It says Warriors Draymond Green fined for questioning refs' integrity. It says Golden State Warriors star Draymond Green was fined $50,000 by the NBA on Wednesday for making an inappropriate comment that questions the integrity of game officials during a 102-97 loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves in Game 3. Green's fine was for a comment made after he had fouled out, referring to the point spread of 5.5 points among sports books for Game 3. Sources told ESPN Sham Charania he fouled out with 4 minutes and 38 seconds remaining in the game, and the Wolves leading 84-82. Cameras caught Green on the sideline mouthing the 5.5 spread during a timeout, with the Warriors leading 102-94. With the Wolves leading 102-94 with 15.2 seconds remaining. Says Green has received a league-high 5 technical fouls this postseason and would have to serve a 1-game suspension if he reaches 7. He's also been called for 2 flagrant fouls. So yeah, now Draymond Green, he in the NBA world is been in plenty of controversy for some of his on the court actions, and but I think this is interesting though, because they fined him $50,000 for suggesting that the refs might have placed money on this game. And to me, it's like, okay, why wouldn't the refs just come out and say, hey, we don't place bets on the games. We officiate with integrity, right? We don't participate in what Draymond Green was suggesting. Why wouldn't they come out and make a statement like that? Instead, they go and fine him $50,000. So they basically took money from him, fined him for saying that they might be trying to win money. I think that's interesting. So they got money. And, this wouldn't even be a thing if, they didn't sit there and promote gambling all throughout these major sports leagues, right? Your DraftKings, your Prize Picks, what's the other ones? FanDuel. Looking at all these. Let's see. Betway. All these different sports betting sites. If they weren't so heavily promoted, he probably wouldn't have said that in the first place. I mean, think about it. Sports betting. Again, when I was a kid watching basketball, this really wasn't a thing like that. The first one that I really remember that was, starting to get some push was DraftKings. That's the one I remember that was, you know, that was kind of the first wave that at least I remember when it came to the heavy promotion of sports betting. And you have all these other ones, Prize Picks and FanDuel. You have all these other ones, right? Both out of what's this one? Trying to see. Bet MGM, Stake. Let's see. Gambling. Don't y'all. I'm telling you, don't get into any of this stuff. I'm gonna tell you right now, don't get into any of this gambling stuff, because all you're gonna do is lose money. I've already heard reports where if you won too much money on some of these sites, they kind of, like, what's the word? They kind of like shut you out to a certain degree and make it to where you can't really place like big bets or something like that, according to what I've heard. So you definitely ain't gonna make lots of money on these sites and get rich off of sports betting or gambling. Gambling is a very serious issue here in the United States, to the point where they have to have an anonymous like gambling hotline for people who are struggling with this issue. Millions of people in the United States struggle with this issue, y'all. It's serious. It's serious. People lose tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes up to hundreds of thousands of dollars. Sometimes their whole life savings gambling. I've heard stories. I've read stories in different forums about people literally losing their life savings gambling, because it's a psychological thing. You'll win a little bit of money, then you get a little bit of you get a little bit bolder, and you bet more money. You win some, you get even more bolder. You bet more money, and guess what? All it takes is one loss, and all that money that you won, that you put right back into another bet, you just lost. That's how it works a lot of times, y'all. That's why I say don't even get started. Gambling, sports betting. And it's sad how they push this type of stuff on the masses, especially during a time where, there's a lot of people who really could use the money. And, we live in a time where there's a lot of financial uncertainty. And so you have a lot of people that are, I guess you can say desperate, if you will, financially. And they're willing to, bet money. Bet thousands of dollars that they saved up for years, only to lose it in one night. Guess what? You lost thousands of dollars. What happens next? Psychologically, you're thinking, oh, well, I got to make that money back. So you start betting more and more money. Same cycle happens. You start winning, then you lose all that money. That's how the game works. It's a cold game, y'all. It's a cold game. So I'm telling you right now, don't gamble. Don't gamble. Don't do these sports betting, all this sports betting nonsense. Don't do it. Unless you want to lose your money, of course. Go right ahead. And in the way they reel you in. Let me tell you how they reel you in. Let me tell you how they reel you in. You know how many of these sites have, oh, here's $50 in, you know, free, so-called free money to use for your first bet or your first few bets. Here's $75. Here's $100 in free money to use for bets when you sign up. You know, that's how they reel you in. Once you're in, then psychologically, especially if you win, you know, you win some money off that free money they gave you, and that dopamine hit strikes, and they ain't got you now. They ain't already got you. Seriously. Now all of a sudden you're on these sites and you're gambling and all that, and next thing you know, you already placed thousands of dollars in bets, hoping you win. I wouldn't do it. Gambling has been around a long time, but gambling at your fingertips, that's a relatively new thing. Yeah, so it's pretty good. You know, again, I can definitely taste the cherry. It just tastes like your standard soda. You know, nothing too not too special about it. It tastes pretty sweet. I think that stevia definitely helps with the sweetness. You know, that way they didn't really have to add a lot of sugar to it. They only added literally 1 gram of sugar to it. But you know, it's just a pretty neat product. You know, again, I'm not saying that this is like some sort of like alternative for, you know, real healthy stuff like water or freshly juiced, like juice from a juicer or something like that. Obviously that's better than something like this, but this is better than, you know, something like Coca-Cola, health wise. Way better, actually. Alright, I pretty much finished it. Y'all. It was pretty good. You know, again, they sell these Ollipops really all your major stores and stuff, so you know. And it wasn't too expensive either. I think it cost more than like a regular soda though. But you know, yeah, that's how it is in America. You know, the healthier stuff is gonna cost more. You know, the cheap, unhealthy stuff it's gonna be cheaper. So yeah, yeah. I think that's about it for this video. I'll probably go ahead and upload this video and go on to sleep. Tomorrow's Friday. Tomorrow is Friday. Thank God it's Friday. But yeah. I do thank y'all for watching this video. I hope that you're relaxed, and Till next time, stay tuned